What's up, y'all? Welcome to the DaddyGate podcast with your hosts, Truthy Poo and Chancey Poo.
What's up, folks?
What is good, man? What's going on? Our first episode. How do you feel
Episode
about it?
1. I feel good, man. Yeah, I think it's a necessary use for a second channel. Might as well make something interesting about it as well, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we had been mulling this around for a while now. Due to the large number of complaints and threats that we had received, featuring some, if you're following the whole DaddyGate situation, KJ may be a name that comes to mind. We won't say the full name. But there's been trolls out there making videos telling people to unsubscribe from us and make complaints against us. So we decided to make this channel somewhat as an insurance policy should that happen. And here we are.
Yeah, that's it, man. And then we thought DaddyGate would be an excellent name to use just to keep this whole thing alive. Because, in 2 years, 3 years, something like that, this could be forgotten about. The way things are going on at the moment, more and more big names are happy to accept Sean Atwood back into their side of things and help the cover-up continue, such as True Geordie, for example, and some other people. With that kind of thing going on, Sean's PR's in full swing now. He's desperately trying to get back into normality, get back into the whole I'm Sean Atwood and I'm the Sean Atwood that you know by my own storytelling skills, not the actual reality of what's been exposed recently. He's trying to hide it all. So DaddyGate is just a natural evolution. We just need to have a podcast, although it might not be named, although it might not be talking about Sean Atwood every time. As long as it's called DaddyGate, it just means whenever somebody asks why it's called that, boom, you know what I mean? You can tell them about Sean Atwood. Yeah.
This will be obviously the origins, and then pretty much owning to it. We get a lot of crap for, you built your name up on Sean Atwood. Okay, we'll just own
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, damn right. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he needs to name his stuff. Jeff Epstein or Prince Andrew. Something
crystal
along
meth.
those lines. Yeah, crystal
methamphetamine sales to vulnerable people. That's how he built his name.
And then, touching back onto these trolls that, have made several crap efforts to say the least, but efforts nonetheless in trying to get our channels flagged. And
hardcore efforts. I mean, there was a real campaign going when our channels were a lot smaller. They really did try hard to get the ball rolling on a false flagging campaign. There was videos getting made, there was comments getting copied and pasted into channels across the genre of DaddyGate, I suppose you could say. Yeah. People targeting monetization on my channel, for example, and just basically trying to do what they think would cause maximum disruption to us to stop us putting the message out there about DaddyGate.
and I mean, after all those feeble attempts, what is going on now? Now they are crawling for help. What ridiculous stuff, man.
It's easy, man. I don't understand it.
It's laughable, dude. You got the emails. I mean, I've got the emails. They only want to speak to you or Poet. They're too good for Truthy, apparently. But
well, they'll go to you though as some sort of middleman somehow.
Yeah.
You're the one with the podcast. If anything, they should be going to you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They want their voices to be heard, but they're throwing shade at me in the process. After all the other shade that they've thrown, these people are seriously delusional to think that we would ever give them the time of day, man. It's a complete joke.
Well, I've never mentioned any of these people before because at the end of the day, they've tried to be troublemakers from day one. They've never reached out in any meaningful way to me at all. So at the end of the day, I don't really know anything about these people, but I'm seeing that there's videos getting made now apparently demanding that we give them airtime after they've tried to get our channels flagged down. It just seems it's kind of confusing, the sort of mindset that they've got they've got going there. I can't really figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, who these characters are. We don't know too much about them. We do know a few things, especially through our detectives and whatnot, these characters. But they try to come onto my channel. I banned their other accounts from my channel, so they made up a different account, and they were trying to suck up to me, acting like a subscriber that loves the content.
Yeah,
And
the
then
usual. I love your content. I've seen all your videos,
yes,
but
and then they threw in like, why are you ignoring KJ? She is trying really hard to get a hold of you. She needs to be heard. And I'm like, I started laughing. I'm like,
I haven't seen any messages like this.
Yeah, no, she did that on what video was it? I can't remember what video. It was one of my more recent videos, but wrote this huge paragraph, and it was obviously KJ using a account, and I even mentioned it in the comments. I go, "Oh, that's hilarious! This account is 1 hour old." So, in essence, she had made that account because her other accounts are banned from my channel. I didn't want to put up with any of that garbage, and so they made this other account, essentially asking to hear this person out, that they have been bullied and all this other crap, and that I have been part of this bullying.
But what's that? That's not content. Who's going to make a video about? I mean, who is KJ? Is KJ this one that tried to set up this false flagging campaign?
Yeah.
This was done ages ago. Yeah, so KJ is the one that set up this false flagging campaign, and now is the same person saying that they need to have a video made about them. I mean, as far as I'm aware, does this person not have a channel of their own? Could they not make their own video?
They have their own channels. They've made their videos.
Do they not understand how YouTube works? Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, make a video then. Keep making videos.
Yeah, well, they disable the comments and dislikes because no one gives a damn about their content, so they have to try to hide it.
But then why would we? I don't know, but I mean, I like I say, I mean, fuck it. I'm sorry, but no offense or anything, but I'm not an anti-bullying channel. If you want to go on to a channel that does anti-bullying content, then I'm sure you'll find many on YouTube. But I'd rather just make things that people are interested in watching, or things that I'm interested in talking about. Well, no offense to anyone.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, I straight up, I shut them down. I go, you know what? This is harassment, what you guys are doing. I've banned you from my channels. You guys are emailing me. You're sending me messages on Facebook. Constantly harassment. This is straight up harassment. So leave me the fuck alone. And I haven't heard nothing from them. But, I mean, they want to talk about getting bullied and harassment. But, I don't know what it is. Cognitive dissonance or what, man. It's a joke. And then for them to think that we would actually give them the time of day just is
this not
the cherry
the
on top.
person who put all the subscribers' names onto like a video, basically, like these, like just subscribers, commenters on the channel, people with no subscribers, you know what I mean? And they were putting all their names and comments, if I remember right, into a video, something like that. I mean, you don't do that. That's not something that's done. You're not supposed to take people who have commented, unless they are harassing you, of course. But you're not really meant to highlight people's names. That's drawing attention. That's inciting dogpiling. Yeah. You shouldn't be doing that. There's ways and means of going about it. Like, I gave out the Chancer Stalker Award to that guy who, his comments were just getting more and more sinister, more and more threatening and intimidating. That was his intention anyway, I could tell.
Right.
Trying to act like the big man and say, like, I've got power, don't mess with me. That kind of crap, I'm going to point out, I still didn't put his name. And I gave him that Stalker Award. I didn't put his name on because it's not the done thing. Even though that guy's got over 1,000 subscribers, I didn't put his name on, because it's just not the done thing. You don't put people's names on who are commenting. That's just
the
my
people
opinion,
that are going to be doing that kind of stuff, for lack of a better term, are pretty unstable. It's
seems to be,
and ties in to Cali Diamond. Cali, I had been messaging Cali for the last week, Maybe since the the whole Cali interview, we could touch on that later on. But one of the messages I got from Cali regarding these people was that KJ is unstable.
So Cali told you that.
We'll put the
about this
screenshot
person.
up here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Cali views this person as unstable, and
Interesting.
apparently, you just can't believe anything that comes,
Can't believe
unfortunately, from her
anything
mouth,
that comes from
and so you
Cali's
don't know
mouth.
what's true, what's fake, what's being used as a setup,
You have
and
to assume it's all fake when
yeah,
somebody lies so much, unless they provide evidence. And if they provide evidence, all good.
and that's the thing. Recently, so as I've already mentioned, I had been in constant communication with Cali,
Mm-hmm.
seeing. I wanted to explore her intentions, and I kept asking her for evidence for all her claims, and instead, what I had received was nonstop trashing of this person, trashing of that person, nothing but hearsay, no evidence whatsoever. And the excuse I kept getting for the lack of evidence was she had been locked out of her accounts by Sean. Sean has apparently all her passwords, so it locked her out of her Gmails, even her YouTube accounts and all this. So she's...
Is that not illegal? I mean, if they're in a sexual relationship, which from the picture of them kissing, they may well be, if him not allowing her access to her Gmail account is, I think that would potentially come under domestic abuse in the UK.
Well,
If they're in a sexual relationship.
yeah, and the way she describes it is he essentially has so much control over her. I mean, you're classic Me Too, if you want to, go that way. Someone in high power or, regarded with power and control and looking at, essentially controlling someone's life who has none of that.
None, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
if you can believe what she's saying,
yeah,
of course.
if she's telling the truth in that regard, but again, you have to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to her. Maybe pounds of salt.
Yeah,
is a better word.
definitely.
But it's just an interesting dynamic how she just kept coming to me, and I was trying to be fair and say, well, maybe there's a little bit of truth, but it just became apparent, and that's when our whole group, our little group that we have, comes into play, because I can run through these things through you guys, and we can vet them together and brainstorm, and it just became clear to all of us it was all bullshit. Just the
So
stupid game.
how has she been getting in touch with you?
Through Skype messaging. Skype messages, and there was a couple times where we would stop communicating, and then she would disappear for a day or two, and then out of nowhere bring up the conversation again. And she brought up the whole Sean is a Mason thing, and as soon as I saw it, I lost my shit. Remember I talked to you about it. I absolutely lost it. I'm like, I am done. I know there's people, and there's probably people listening to this that are, follow that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to demean you. That is not my cup of tea. That's like, it's just a little too far out there for me. And she started, in my mind, she thinks that I do believe in conspiracies. No question, I do believe. I don't believe in every single conspiracy. So, in my opinion, she was throwing that out there so that I could run with that and spread it out. And, again, another campaign of disinformation, in my opinion. And I pretty much lost it at that point. And then she kept messaging me and then wanted me to engage in a catfish activity, which I didn't know really what catfishing was. I know we had a show out here in the States called To Catch a Predator. I don't know if you guys watched it.
Oh yeah, man, it's famous, dude. Yeah. What's his name?
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen. We need to get Chris Hansen on to Sean Atwood.
Yeah. Well, if you're to believe Cali, which I don't. I think it was all bullshit. Sean's feeding her this crap. And the thing that clarified it for me was, all right, let's engage in some catfishing activities with Sean, but let's make let's make this about a 15 or 14-year-old girl. And Cali shut that down. She wanted the catfishing to involve someone within the age of consent.
She did, but she tried to make it sound as if it wasn't that. So, because the messages she showed me, it said, Callie brought all this up herself, and she said, let's catfish him. Let's get a girl that looks quite young, a sex worker, to put an advert out, and we'll get Sean to, and this was on adult work, let's get her to put an adult work advert out. And Callie somehow knew that Sean would reach out to that specific sex work profile that we chose to make up. So obviously it's between Callie and Sean in the background. This is their attempt to try and get us pull us into some kind of prank, obviously. But Callie said, I believe, and we'll put the screenshots up, she said something like, what was it, like, we'll start her off like saying that she's 19 and then we'll drop the age down to 17, 16. That's what she said. And you're like, well, the age of consent over there is 16, so that doesn't really, although that's fucking immoral, but that doesn't actually do anything in terms of catfishing him. So you said, why, if you want to catfish her, playing along, if you want to catfish her, why not say she's 14, 15? And like you say, she shut that down completely because she doesn't want any incriminating messages. She knows these messages are going to be talked about. No. It's so obvious, and she doesn't want to say anything incriminating in these messages, but she tried to pull you into thinking that we were going to catfish him into thinking, which we'd never ever do. I mean, have we ever reached out and done anything to set Sean up?
No.
Anything? We don't do that. We only report on things that he does. We don't involve ourselves in the situation.
Yeah.
We're outside observers.
Right.
And as much as he tries to pull us into these things.
Yeah, the one text message, I wanted to... this, if Callie would have been cool with this, that would have lent her a little bit of credibility in my eyes that she really did want to bring him down, Like, damn, okay. Let's see this test. I had to set these tests, and I kept, throughout my messages with Callie, I kept telling her, look, I need something so that I can believe you. Because right now I think you're full of shit.
Evidence of what she said in our previous podcast with you, the one that flew off, that blew everyone into a rage, basically. We needed some evidence of, as you asked her in that podcast as well, repeatedly, you said, we'll need some extraordinary evidence for these extraordinary claims. That's what you were, I believe that's why you were still in contact with her after, was to try and get that evidence, but she hasn't come up with it, and we're talking, 2 weeks later?
Shit. So here's the text message that, I moosed out of you. It says, look, if we're gonna catfish him, I'm happy to do it. But if we're gonna go to the effort of that, there's no point saying she's 16 or 17, as that's legal age for you guys over there. You know that, Callie. Would he bite at 14, 15? Do you think? And she replied simply with, "You got to start." And later drop that age. So, and then after that, I replied again, moosing it out. Okay, cool. So we dropped to 14 and 15, and he'll go for that. He won't know it's a catfish, question mark. And she says, get him trusting at legal age. That almost sounds like Sean's writing that shit. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Daddy will bite for younger, but we will soon find out. He does like to call me daughter. And then the message I wrote after that, like, I didn't want to be mean to her. And again, we'll put these screenshots up. So if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you go to the YouTube channel so you can actually see these for yourself. Let's see. And I go, let's see. I simply replied by saying, LOL, but that is just weird. Because me and you are close in age. We are far from kids. She's been trying to say that, she's sticking with the whole nonsense of the prank, that she was trying to catch pedophiles. By doing this, it kind of lends, if we were to believe her, it lends credibility to that BS claim. And after that, she writes, I'm not convinced you're American, Not that I care, but I do find something familiar about you. Sean's mental age is around 10, though. You know what that comment is trying to hit at when I think about it? This one clown that has a channel with 40 subscribers, and he tells everyone that I ripped off his channel. He's from
that guy.
Australia. That guy has been going around trying to shut me down. So that's another clown that's trying to shut me down. But he has told people that I am this guy that goes by Michael Dade on YouTube.
Okay.
And so that's what
I've not
she's
heard
getting
any
at.
of this, man.
And the only one that would know that is Sean Atwood. Sean has brought that up to me. So for Cali to bring it up, to me that is undeniable proof that that Sean is right there with her. Because Cali doesn't know any of this shit, the Michael Dade crap. Only Sean does. And so I just ended all communications with her by saying, my gut tells me this is a 100% setup. I can see it now. Prank number 2 on the trolls featuring Truthy and Chancer. LMFA O extra freaking O. So there you go. An attempt into trying to make their little prank number 2 and run away with that.
Attempt from day one. I mean,
Pathetic, man.
Well, you gave her the benefit of the doubt in the sense that you were like, well, I'm going to keep asking her for evidence. I knew for a fact there was no evidence whatsoever going to be shown.
For sure.
None whatsoever. She said she had evidence. It's not like we're asking her for evidence of things that she said, look, I don't have the evidence of these. They're not things that I can prove. This is just what I'm saying. She literally said on your channel, she said, I'll provide evidence. If you need evidence of that, just let me know. Or she sent you messages saying that. I can't remember. But either way, she volunteered the evidence forward. Still hasn't turned up. Apparently because her sexual partner, Sean Atwood, restricts her control and access to her Gmail account, allegedly. And she's going around trying to tell people asking people if they can attempt to access her email address. I don't know how she expects that to work. Like, just, okay, I'll just guess the password, will I? But yeah, she's trying to ask people, like, she's reaching out to you, she's reached out to other people, saying, please, can you try and access my email address from where you are? So that's obviously just a way to sort of give her the narrative that people are trying to hack her. Or it seems to be anyway. And okay, she's badmouthed a few people in the background. So she's badmouthed this KJ character to you, saying that this is an unstable person. I don't know what that's about. I mean, I believe Cali gave you quite a lot of just a whole pile of useless information, really. I mean, it's not got anything to do with anything. No evidence.
Trying to befriend me, trying to befriend me, like, look, I'm really on your side. And at the same time hitting us with shit.
Sean's a Mason, like, they really think that people are going to care. First of all, I could not give a flying shit if Sean Atwood is a Mason.
Exactly.
That does not bother me at all. I don't care if he's the head of the Masons. I could not give a shit about that. You know what I mean? It's not going to change the way I operate or anyone else operates. Yeah. Every single person, almost everyone that I know, knows somebody who's in the Masons or has been in the Masons or has been invited into the Masons. It's not a fucking big deal. You know what I mean? It's like everyone always knows someone that knows someone that's been invited into it. It's not a big thing, but Sean Atwood knows for a fact that his audience, a lot of his audience, are so far gone in the conspiratorially minded direction that if he says that, he thinks it's going to scare people off. That's what I think. That's why he keeps saying it. He said it out. He literally wrote it in the chat, didn't he? Yeah. On that live stream where he came in when he was all coked up by the looks of things. Yeah. And basically started making reference to him and Cali having sexual intercourse. And he was saying, like, yes, I'm a Mason. I've got a family member who's high up in the Masons and all this stuff. Who gives a toss? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? You're still going to go down if you get a punch in the jaw. Dude, who gives a fuck?
What was my reaction when I got that message from her, bro? I lost my shit, bro. Dude, oh man, I don't want to repeat what I said, but yeah, I was dead serious, dude. I was so frustrated. I'm like, all this work.
I've been frustrated. That was your first mistake, man. You should have known from day one that she was not worth engaging with after the podcast. The first time you asked her for evidence, it's just my opinion, of course, but the first time you asked her for evidence and she didn't give it to you, at that point, she should have been way down in your list of contacts. Maybe someone that you responded to after a year, maybe, if you saw the email, you know what I mean? But really not worth any of your time, in my opinion.
No, and I respect it. This is what this podcast is going to be about. I mean, we agree on a lot of things, but it's also awesome to explore where we disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
just,
wanted
uh-huh.
evidence for the audience, didn't you? You wanted a closure on. I mean, you've been getting quite not a lot of hate, but it certainly weeded out all the people that can't handle different opinions. That podcast,
Oh yeah, that
and
what an epic podcast, man. I mean, let's go into that. I guess,
totally,
a different segue. Uh, the whole, it's in essence gone mini viral.
yeah,
It's been mirrored by other smaller channels and whatnot. It's been talked about by Brian Harvey, and he
hmm
even mirrored it on his channel,
yeah,
which then we turned into a
it was
trailer,
awesome.
for our
Yeah,
channel. How
yeah, it was.
awesome is that, man?
It was excellent. He didn't have any comments, I don't think, on that channel, but on that video that he did, that
Yeah, it
clip
disabled the
video, but
comments.
yeah, the video that we clipped. But yeah, no, it was excellent to hear. I totally got what he was saying. He's not going to trust anyone 100%, completely and utterly respect and understand that, and that's the way to go forward in life. I mean, as we were just saying, in our private conversation before, we were just talking about, which you probably put out in a live stream knowing you by accident, but um, we were just talking about how like 99% of people don't come up with the goods, like
Yeah.
people will always make promises, and I find it's always best never to make a promise, always to, you have to, in a way it's sad, but you have to always be like, look, I'll try, but I can't promise,
Yeah.
because something can always come up, or you can just change your mind before
Right.
you get to the event or
Circumstances
whatever.
change.
Yeah, exactly. So he's right not to trust, to say, I'm sorry, I don't trust people, because you actually cannot trust 99% of people. Only 1% of people actually come through. Only 1% of people actually have a sense of honor to their own word. Like, I've given my word on this one, so I'm going to go through with it, So many
Right.
people's word is absolutely worthless. And yeah, so I totally understand why he's saying, like, I need to, I'm not going to 100% back up these people, but it's so cool that he enjoys our content. He seems like a really sound guy. He's commented on my channel before as well. He seems like an awesome guy. And, we clipped that out of happiness
Yeah.
that he'd actually said that. And it turned into a really nice, cool looking trailer as well, didn't it?
Awesome trailer. Yeah. You know, someone sent me another link. This is all thanks to the subscribers out there. You guys are awesome. All the ones sending
Yeah.
those links. So another subscriber sent me a link to another of his channels. Apparently, he's got several. And so I went to that channel. Channel had several comments, maybe like 70, 80 comments. No hearts to any comments. And this is going to sound cheeky, but I'm only saying it because I thought it was completely awesome. But I showed up to that channel and then just left a quick little comment and said, awesome video, Brian. Thanks for the endorsement. Sending love. Quick little comment within seconds. Boom! Got a heart smacked right on that comment. And I just
Yeah.
thought it was so freaking awesome.
It
So
is,
obviously,
yeah.
Brian knows about us. And I think it's completely awesome. I mean, what a badge of honor. And BH, if you're listening, you want to get on the show, my man, we would love to have you on. It would be awesome it would be an
Yeah,
honor
definitely.
to have you on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But I mean, tying it back into the initial point of the, just how the Cali video just getting mirrored. I wanted to touch one little base on it. I fully want that to happen. I want people to share the stuff and mirror it. And you can give your own perspective on how you feel about your material. My material, go ahead. I want people to use it. The only thing, it's a small little thing that I ask. Just say where you got it from. Say original can be found at this channel. That's all I'm asking.
Well, it's just
You know,
etiquette, isn't it?
it's-
YouTube manners,
Yeah, yeah. I saw a couple characters. I saw some that smaller channels that are starting out that are giving us the credit. They have it on their channel and they're giving us credit. That's freaking awesome. That's just, like you said, etiquette. But then there's other people that the way they have their channel set up, they try to make it look like it's their
Their
original
content
content.
almost is weird,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
it's just weird,
It's
man.
weird that, yeah, because you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
That's what are they getting out of it apart from views, obviously?
Right.
But
And,
that's not enough. You can't live on views.
it's just weird,
So
man. Like,
weird. You
how are
put
you gonna
your time into that.
copy something and then pass it off like it's your own original content? I don't know. Whatever. At the same time, I mean, it is kind of, it does make you tickled, and
It's an honor to have. I don't mind if someone uploads my stuff or whatever if it's
yeah,
in the context of them just trying to spread the message. I think it's ace, man. It's fucking good, you know.
awesome.
You
Yeah,
can either
because
share my video or you can upload whatever, whatever. Like, I mean, everything on a case by case basis. But I don't really have a problem with people doing it. Personally, my own philosophy though is like if I use someone else's content in my channel, even if that person doesn't like me, I'll shout out that person. You
right.
know, even if they're tiny, even if it's somebody with like 20 subscribers, for example, which I've done before, I've had to use something that they had and put it onto my comment, and this person doesn't even like me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I had to say like, I'm not had to, but it's just polite just to say like,
polite.
you can hit up this channel. This is where I got this information from. I don't care about whether someone likes me or doesn't like me or not. There's too many people who care about that kind of thing. I'm a very selfish kind of person. I'm only
Yeah,
focused on me. So I don't care if you don't like me, that's you. That's not me. You know what I mean? So that's it's entirely up to yourself whether you don't like me or not. But it was quite funny. This guy that I shouted out and gave credit to, God, he hates me, man. He's on my comments all the time, giving me shit, giving me grief
yeah,
about all sorts of stuff. Which is fine. Whatever.
yeah.
I'll just respond back to him, giving him as much grief back. But
Well, that's
he still deserves the credit for his content.
yeah. No, absolutely. Well, that's the thing that with the Cali video. I mentioned this before. It it weeded out a lot of people. There were people that absolutely crucified me for it, and were telling me how to do this and how to do that. And in the long run, I thought it was a great decision.
Well, it's worked out positively
Yeah,
in
it
the
worked
long,
out for
and it's
yeah.
solidified your audience behind you.
100%, 100%. I mean, look at this channel. We had no content, and we were already preloaded with several hundred subscribers. And to me, a big shout out to all you guys who subscribed without any
Massive
content.
thanks, yes,
Yeah,
100%.
for this channel to have that many subscribers, you guys are the loyal of the loyal. You guys are awesome. Special shout out to each and every one of you guys. I mean,
Big time. People have been emailing me, man, and reaching out to me and on Twitter, DMs and stuff like that, and it's crazy. They're like, the people are so totally like hyped to hear about the fact that we're going to have a podcast. I've had people saying things like, "Oh man, I listen to you at work. It's so good that you're going to have a podcast," and stuff like that. I don't want
yeah.
to
Wait, did I lose you?
regular schedule or anything like that, but you know,
Oh
what was
yeah.
that?
Well, I guess we can touch on moving forward. So with this channel, we definitely we're gonna have the YouTube version as well, but podcasts. I guess let's touch a little bit on what a podcast is. Essentially, because
And isn't.
yeah, because there's a lot of funny
I
business when it comes
suppose,
to
yeah, I
podcasts.
said podcast there as well. Podcast is not so much YouTube as such, although it can be. Um, yeah, podcast more like the audio, isn't it? Like you
Right.
listen to it in your little audio book player or your Spotify and stuff like that.
So I guess we can touch a little bit on what a podcast is for those that don't fully understand. For the most part, a podcast is audio based. I want to say 95% of podcasts you hear are going to be audio based. They're made for, when you're working out, you're at work, you're driving, if you got a long road trip. That's what they originally were intended for. And podcasts came out, I want to say about 15 years ago, but and most of the
Oh
time,
yeah, with that when iPod came out, because it was iPod that started it, wasn't it? And that's why it's called
I
a
believe so.
podcast.
Yeah, yeah. But back then, the podcasts were only like 5 minutes clips, and a lot of the times they were like, for example, the first podcast I subscribed to were like nightly news clips. So in the morning before I went to work, I would upload my nightly news clips from the night before, and get my news that way. Um, and so then they slowly started evolving into pretty much what we have now. And one of those pioneers being, like a Joe Rogan, for example. And Joe Rogan talks about it a lot in his podcast, that when he initially started talking to friends, talking to interesting people for hours upon hours, people were told him there's no future for this. No one wants to hear a couple of guys talking for a couple hours. No one wants that. And he pretty much proved all those doubters wrong. Now he's pretty much the podcast leader, global leader. Just got that sweet Spotify deal himself. But he pretty much proved that people are interested in hearing a couple of folks talk, especially if they are interesting. And so tying it to us, we didn't know how this was going to work out, but seeing the number of people that have subscribed to this channel before any content is just a huge, huge thumbs up for that. What gave me the signal that I thought we would do real good was when we did the aftermath video. That aftermath video, for me at least, after we had recorded it. So the aftermath video was my reaction, and you right there with me, to the whole Cali interview because of the hate that had come in. And whatnot. And so I don't want to apologize. I made it clear in that video that this was not an apology. So if you were looking for an apology from me in that video, sorry about that. This is not the video for you. And that aftermath video was so well received. But, maybe some folks were able to notice it. But after it was done and we recorded it, I go, holy crap, dude. Our chemistry in a time of crisis, it really was. I was panicking. I didn't want to. Dude, I pretty much called you last minute. Hey, man, I'm going to do this video. There's so much hate coming in. I didn't prepare any notes or nothing. And I just hit you up. And if you listen to that aftermath video, you can hear us like, what are we going to talk about? We're like, I don't know, dude. We're already live. But
I know you keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, it just showcased the chemistry that we had. And again, another confirmation as to why we made this channel together. I just feel we complement each other and we can talk and people enjoy listening to us. You may like one of them. You may like Chancer a little bit more than me. You may find me obnoxious or vice versa, whatever. But you'll hear us talk. Or you may love us both the same, but you're going to hear us talk. We're going to disagree at times and just try to have these fun,
or you may hate us, smash the dislike button every time you listen and comment negatively every time you listen, but still keep tuning in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get those people. It's
get
so
those
weird.
people.
I'd never do that.
I've got
you must
several...
like us somehow. You know what I mean? They must be warming to us by now, these people.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I get those on my... You get them on your channel too. But it's the same people smashing those dislike buttons. Like, it's religious to them. It's the same group of people. They do it. They'll leave a negative comment every single time. No positive comments at all. And it's just, and then I noticed that on this channel we already have like 5 dislikes. Like, who the hell would come over here and dislike? It's one of those guys that are migrating as well. Yeah, like,
what's the point in disliking it before you know what's out there? But then there's people just dislike us, and that's guaranteed to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that's what stops a lot of people in the first place making a channel or doing anything on YouTube, is because people don't want to be disliked, but you have to get used to it very quickly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, brutal,
like,
man.
your little ego is gonna get scalped, and now and again, quite quickly when you go onto YouTube. You have to get over quite a lot of it, but it's good fun. But that, go back to that aftermath video, like that video, man, it was great, man. It was really nice that you reached out to me. You never really asked if I wanted to come on. You just kind of like said, like, oh, I'm gonna. You sounded so dejected, You're like, oh man, this is fucking not dejected, but you're like, oh god,
I was
like,
bummed
I've got
out,
to fucking
bro.
go and respond to this shit. Like, oh well, I'm just a way to go on, I was like, I'll come on with you, dude. It's fine,
Well, I kind of asked you a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
I don't think you explicitly pure asked me outright. No, I don't think you did. But I think you kind of hinted. I could tell you were like, oh man, please come on.
Dude, I didn't want to do it, bro. There was so much. Dude, I had to shut off my phone after that. My phone was blowing up with hate.
Oh my god.
Hate.
But you're so gutted. It's like, oh god, I didn't turn my phone off.
I turned it off. I went to the beach for a few hours. I said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And no, man, I can't thank you enough, dude. Like, I told you then, after I messaged you, and I go, dude, I fucking love you to death, bro. I don't know how I could have done that video, the aftermath video, without you, man. It was awesome to have you there. You said what you had to say. It's not like you were you were in agreement with the tack that I took or anything like that. You still had your own opinion, but the very fact that you were there and showed you had my back, dude, and showed me support when so many other people were questioning my motives through this whole thing.
Well, I found the whole thing ridiculous. Like the amount, the level of vindictiveness that came through from a lot of people was quite surprising. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about people that disagreed with the fact that you had Cali on. That's a different thing altogether. But the people that took that as you being on the side of Cali, I just thought that you have to be insane to think that that's the answer. You know, that this is what's happened here. This is not what's happened here. This is a podcast. It's about this topic. This is a person that's involved in this topic. Having that person on was, in my opinion, the thing that had to be done. What was the other option? Oh well, we don't want to take Cali on because we don't want her to embarrass herself.
No.
That's not how it works. But the amount of vindictiveness, it really did bring quite a lot of people out of the woodwork, in the sense that there were so many people thought they saw an opportunity to kind of go for the jugular. And this is just what happens, especially with British people. They like to support an underdog until that underdog just gets slightly too big for their liking, and then they like to knock the underdog down. It's a classic British public thing. Everyone knows that that's what we do. It's well known. It's well joked about in the media and things like that. That's what British people do, and that's what you got a taste of there. A lot of people that had previously supported you when you were still an underdog, you suddenly got Cali on, and they were like, right, now it's time to go for the jugular. He's got too big for his boots, you know.
Well, and that's kind of, we had a little taste of that before, you know, when we've got a small tight knit group. Special shout out to them. You guys know who you are. We're very close, but at one point in time, our group was triple the size, and it's been weeded down over time. And one of those big catalysts for a mass exodus, and you know, we had mod changes. We had to change a lot. I guess tying it into the whole trust issue, you know, even through this whole thing behind the scenes, a lot of people don't realize a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, but some people within our tight-knit group were questioning my motives, and it really hurt. You know, these are people that I legit cared about, and so to have people, when it's someone that I don't know and I don't give a damn about, if you can question me all you want, it's not gonna affect me. It does get to me, and it does bother me when it's someone that I actually cared about. And so when it started turning in this regard, it did bum me out, man.
You mean like questioning your motives in regards to the Cali interview, basically, yeah?
Yeah, and even saying that one of these such persons, and you may know who I'm talking about, and the person listening will know exactly who I'm talking about, actually straight up told me that my end goal was to become friends with Sean Atwood and be on his podcast. They told me that.
God. That's their thought process. That's what they would do in this situation. They're just projecting.
It's such ridiculous. And I'm happy.
Where does that come from otherwise?
Yeah.
How can you so confidently assert that that's what someone would do, unless you've put yourself in that person's shoes and thought that's what I would do in this situation, so that must be what he would do. It's so silly.
Work.
I've never once thought that you want to be friends with Sean Atwood. You did get a little bit of flack, remember, when Sean came in and started giving a heap of his coked up comments that we mentioned earlier on, that everyone's familiar with if you're listening to this, probably.
Sean Atwood returns with Truth and Chance.
Yes, I've done a video on that. I think it was Crazy Comments or something like that, Inexplicable Comments. If you check on my channel, I'll maybe put a video link or something in the description if I can remember. But that was one of those situations where people thought that you were softballing Sean Atwood a bit, and there was a little taste of it there. No. But at the end of the day, people don't understand. It's not that people don't understand, but some people don't understand that there is a tactic to be had, and you kind of have to give people enough rope to hand themselves. It's just one of those things. Just because you are, in a sense, having a bit of banter with Sean Atwood on the air at that point, I wasn't at all. I was like, no banter with him. But that's my style. Your style is just just roll with it, man. It's entertainment. It needs to sound interesting to listen to. It needs to have something that comes out of it in the end. And all you did was just allow Sean Atwood to continuously throw out these sexually charged comments in an environment where he thought he was getting a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have done it if you hadn't have just,
if I would have yelled at him or
that.
whatever, who knows?
Exactly.
He probably all these juicy clips that you made up into a video would have probably never come to fruition.
Yes, if you hadn't have just kept him going a little bit, and it's necessary. But people, they just don't. People want to rip they want to be like sort of like lions in the lion's den and rip these people apart. Whereas we're not so much wanting to rip these people apart. We're literally just trying to get as much information as possible about it and present it to everyone. And you can see the fact is that Sean Atwood is not a pleasant person. He talks about him and the trafficked woman in a sexual context for fun or banter, in his own words. He's not a pleasant guy. And the more you learn from him, the more you learn he's actually not a nice guy. He's not the kind of guy that you want to banter with. He's not a nice guy, and he doesn't deserve respect, in my opinion. But that's obviously just my opinion. But it's the show must go on. It's entertainment. It is a show at the end of the day.
Right.
It's just a bit of fun. We are exposing Sean Atwood in the sense that we're pointing these things out, but it doesn't mean that, as Cali's trying to do, get us to entrap him. We're not trying to entrap him. And people ask what the end goal is. Like, I don't have an end goal. The situation doesn't involve me. So how could I have an end goal? All I'm doing is pointing out what he's doing. But I always get these comments on video saying, "What's your end goal here? Do you want him to shut down his channel?" I don't have an end goal. Literally, what he does and his decisions that he makes have got nothing to do with me. They've got nothing to do with you, Wheezy. You know what I mean? We're observers,
right.
And we're observers that present the situation as we see it once we've seen it.
Right.
That's what Sean Atwood doesn't like. That's what Cali doesn't like. You can tell Cali doesn't like it because she's trying to get us to. She's trying to get us basically to
prank
trap Sean Atwood. Yeah, it's not part of the game. I'm not playing that game, and I know you're not playing that game either.
Well, in one infamous rant that I had, which I trimmed out, but I kept saying you can't play the player. I mean, this is all a big giant game, cat and mouse game, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost ridiculous how much of a game it is for them, Sean Atwood and Cali. It's like they're having a huge laugh, whether it's wearing the, switching shirts, doing it blatantly, and they're still doing it. It's like,
well, dude, the attention went off them. Wildman died, and Sean Atwood, the focus came off Sean Atwood a little bit, just out of human respect and humanity. He wouldn't have done the same for anyone else, but the focus came off him a little bit at that point, just to give him a little bit of a break, I suppose. But in the background, he's like, well, I don't like the fact that all this attention's off me now. So Cali, go and message Wheezy and try and get him to say incriminating things in messages that we can use against them. That's all they're trying to do. Like, you would think they would just move on.
Right.
Be happy with the fact that the attention's come off him slightly, but the attention is not going to come off him because he's still operating like an absolute jackass.
It's a narcissism again, man. Thinking that they can screw around with us and it'll be okay because at the end of the day they're smarter than either of us, so it's all good. Fun and games. And just I don't know. I sometimes don't understand it. I'm like, you have it all, and he's still engaging in these little tactics. However, without getting into any much detail, just very vaguely touching, just to give our subscribers a little taste, there's stuff in the works, major stuff.
Yeah, he's pissing people off.
Yeah,
you can't go around life in that way and get away with it forever without some people coming forward. So he is pissing people off. There is things that we're in discussions about at the moment.
We can't get into it. We're not trying to tease you guys. This is just, we don't want to ruin it. The Bloodhound is on it, so the trusty old Bloodhound Craig, he's on top of it. We are fully on. We have to be as vague as possible because we don't want to tip our hand. We don't want to show our hand. So please understand that. All I can say is it's major shit. And you know what, Sean, I think we can talk about this. Sean is aware that we know something. He doesn't know what we know, but he is aware that we are onto something because of these erratic things that have been happening. You know, with Cali messaging me, KJ messaging us, all these little things.
People getting in touch saying, do you happen to know, I noticed people on Poets comments, consistently asking, like, how do you know how Sean Atwood laundered money? What's the method of his money laundering?
Yeah, they're trying to pry information.
And continuously trying to get that information. And it's quite interesting. Like, I'm not sure if people are Sean Atwood using sock accounts or not. I can't say one way or the other, of course. You can only make assumptions. But to keep probing that kind of line of inquiry, what's the method?
Yeah. And I got those from Cali as well.
You know.
Cali was asking me, what do I know about this? What do I know about that? Yeah. And I purposely did not answer her. We're not tipping our hand at all. We're not tipping our hand to them.
Well, they'll find out when it gets put out in a video.
When it comes out, it's going to be explosive. It's going to be, it's going to be, if you thought the Cali interview was huge, I have a feeling this is going to be fucking 100 times bigger. It's going to be huge. I wouldn't be surprised if everything lines up. And this person that is in contact with us, she listens to the show, so big shout out to her. Big shout out to her. You know who you are. Can't name you, obviously. But if everything works out, it's possible that the media can run. Finally, the media will want to cover this.
It might give us something. Yeah. Like I said,
there's no promises, but it's very possible.
You can't carry on like this in life, just harming innocent people, causing trouble for innocent people, without people saying, "Hold on, what reality are you living in?" Because the reality I live in is that you don't get away with that. We'll bring it to the public if it. We'll sort it out between ourselves. We'll bring it to the public if it's worth bringing out. You know what I mean? And if it's something that exposes wrongdoing by somebody that thinks they're going to get away with it and cover it up, then it's worth exposing. So we'll watch this space for that one, I think, is all we should really say regarding this. But again, this is information that's getting brought to us. This is not information that we've gone out seeking. We don't go around seeking information, It's just stuff that comes our way, but it does seem to be very interesting at the moment and ties in with quite a lot of stuff that you've probably heard already.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. I just wanted to give some kind of throw some blood in the water, because our fans are very, very rabid. They're like sharks. They're waiting for those drops of blood.
A little drop of blood in the water, man. We got any drops of blood that we could drop in the water just now, though? Apart from that, I don't know if there's not so much going on at the moment, is there? Well, the Cali messages, like I say, we'll get those up on the screen. Those will be quite interesting.
Yeah,
so you can see how Cali's operating. Yeah, absolutely.
And especially the people that question our motives, and it kind of gives an insight to people. I want to know this thing home. Before people are still going to open their mouths and run their mouths and say stupid shit. But I think sometimes people say stupid shit because they are ignorant to the happenings of what's really going on.
In a good way. Like, we were ignorant at the start. You know what I mean? It's not a negative thing to be ignorant. We were ignorant. I was ignorant as hell with Sean Atwood at the start. I remember thinking to myself at one point, and this is what annoys me most about the whole thing almost. I remember thinking to myself about Sean Atwood, my God, he's a better man than I am. Because he's letting Cali come on and stay in his house and stuff like that, and he must just be doing it out of the goodness of his heart. You know what I mean? I literally remember saying to myself, this is kind of strange, and I thought, well, no, he's obviously just a better man than you. You know what I mean? Right. That's what I was thinking. Like a more morally decent kind of guy. Because I wouldn't have her stay. I'd be saying, no, sorry, you can have a hotel, or maybe give you some money for a hostel or something like that. Right. But you won't be staying in my house. You know what I mean? So it's like, he does. he has that effect on people. So there's nothing wrong with being ignorant, and you've got to remember a lot of the people that come on and give us grief on videos to this very day. I know you get messages every 15 minutes on your channel almost giving you shit about something about old videos that you've mentioned about Sean Atwood, but those people haven't had their eyes opened yet. They don't actually know. Once you've got your eyes open, there's no going back. Anyway, carry on, dude.
No, it's just I think when when people see the text messages the conversations I've had with Cali, even the other characters, I want people to get a better sense that there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And we just give you guys snippets. And the reason we only give a little snippet here, a little snippet there, is because we don't want to ruin the entire thing. We're still working on stuff. In this sense of the word, we pretty much literally are activists. I mean, we're Florida-based activists. Hey, might as well talk about that. So this channel, just to be clear, is Florida-based.
Yep.
It's American-grown, moving forward. Even after the whole Atwood stuff finally dies down, and eventually it will, we're going to continue to put out content. And because it is Florida-based, out of the good old USA, my man Chancer will be able to explore more topics a little bit more freely. Am I right?
Yeah, things that in the UK might be the kind of thing that would have the police kicking your door in and arresting you in front of a pre-tipped off media. I might be able to talk about without that kind of slight background concern, because you never know when you're going to be the one that happens to. Everyone that it's happened to so far has just been an innocent random person who never expected it, who spoke out. Like there's so many different things that you could hazard a guess at, but you just don't even know what the government is watching you for here. So that First Amendment protection that you've got in the good old US of A, man, which I'm extremely envious of, and I think every country needs to have that, and I think you're the only country that has that. It's mental.
It's all right, but even we cry about it, but I guess now that I know your situation a little bit more, it's
all about protection from the government and the police. It's not about protection from being an asshole from your fellow citizens. You know what I mean? Right. You want to go around, let's say, utilizing your free speech in the way to cause maximum offence in the surrounding area around you. People are just going to smack you, or you're going to get fired from your job and stuff like that. That's not a free speech thing. Free speech is the government can't come and arrest you for it, and that's really, really important. But we don't have that here. So the fact that this podcast is produced and published in Florida based completely, it just allows for that. If I ever want to cover a topic that's maybe restricted in the media in the UK for whatever reason, I'll put that video on this channel. I'll maybe put a little trailer on my channel, something like that. Yeah. And then guide people over at this channel, because it's just a bit safer, and it's not to try and get into. I don't do things to try and offend people, so it's not like I'll be trying to make offensive content, because that would be against YouTube's rules anyway. Yeah. It's not about circumventing YouTube's rules, it's about circumventing the discrepancy between the British government's rules and YouTube's rules. Right. And so then I can get out of the British government's eyes and published and produced within Florida. So at the end of the day, I'm just narrating these videos, and they belong to the DaddyGate podcast channel, which is published and produced within Florida. So that's it. You can't arrest me for narrating content. And people do say that I'm maybe being a bit overcautious, and it's possible, but there's people that have had their lives ruined and their public name absolutely dragged through the mud because of jokes that they've made in this country. You don't get that in America. No.
Yeah, it's not 100% gravy over here either. However, based on our conversations that we've had, it seems like it is night and day almost. But so that's the other aim.
Yeah, the freedom of speech in the UK is appalling. You don't have freedom of speech. You have to say what you think people will agree with, in a sense. You can't just open your mouth. Open discourse is not really allowed in the UK.
Yeah.
It used to be. It used to be really quite until quite recently. You would have, political parties where, for example, you'd have like the British National Party, which is a far right party, and it's not anything I support at all. But they had a political space in the United Kingdom, whereas now anyone that tries to talk about anything that is deemed slightly right wing is classed as far right and shut down completely. And the whole media, the police investigate them. You know what I mean? For
Right.
public, and I'm certainly not far right in any way, shape, or form. Just as I'm not far left.
Right.
But it's a dodgy topic to even talk about. Even me talking about this is going to have people labeling me. You know what I mean? But you used to have that open discourse. It was accepted that there was an open discourse. It was accepted that there was that opposing view, even though it was grubby and not nice to listen to. It was accepted that that was there, and it was allowed a platform in the media, the same as equally given a platform, the same as the other parties and the other viewpoints, and now it's not. So it's strange. I mean, you've said yourself about the whole far left and the way things are going so far left at the moment, which is so true. That's really happened big time in the UK, but without that sort of, I don't know what you would call it, but like a safety catch of having some sort of amendment in your constitution that says the government can't intervene in a speech issue. Like, it's left to the government to just stamp out and use the police to force people into keeping their mouth shut. And then what you do is you drive the far right people underground. You can't hear them speak, and they're talking underground. And if they're underground, they're plotting, and you know what I mean? It's like, just have it out in the open so I know who is coming out with the bullshit. I want to know who's coming out with the bullshit. And by suppressing speech, you're not affording me that right to listen to, you're not allowing me that right to see what people think. I want to know what people think. I want to know who the asshole is in the office,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's...
And it's me, god damn it. But yeah, so...
No, that's going to be the awesome thing moving forward with this whole thing. It's going to let you cut a little bit more loose. We've got so many... I guess I wanted to explore on this first episode, obviously DaddyGate. That's what we're going to be focusing mostly on. But I also wanted to kind of give people a preview of what we plan ahead, in the future. One of those things, I mean, you and I are both video gamers. And one thing we had talked about was maybe even Twitch streaming using this channel.
Yep.
So, playing some video games like Red Dead Redemption and... and if any of the fans want to join us, they'll have, they'll be able to watch us, and we'll talk a little crap. We'll have a little fun, like gamers do and whatnot. It might not be for everyone, but we want to explore different avenues. We want to somewhat have a variety. So, again, you can, whenever you want to post something that would be you would not be comfortable posting on your channel, you could definitely bring it here. We would have video game stuff. We could even have a comedy hour. If I get someone that's interesting enough, like a comedian or something, put it on this channel too.
Yeah, man,
I mean, all kinds of stuff.
We can platform other creators and stuff here,
right.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want it to be a single source channel. It'll be versatile, and we just want to. I've got big dreams. I've got big thoughts on this, and you don't get big if you don't think big. So you got to think big. I'm super excited moving forward, and I know we're about an hour in, so maybe we should start wrapping it up. In the future, we don't have to keep it to an hour. We can go longer if need be, but this is more of an exploratory episode and a window into what's coming up. And like we've already touched base on, it'll be heavily DaddyGate based, at first.
Yeah, we're in the DaddyGate universe at the moment, and the name is going to stay DaddyGate just simply for the fact that we don't want the name to die. It's an important thing that needs to continuously be brought up when people ask, why the hell did you call yourselves the DaddyGate podcast, because I get people asking me what the hell DaddyGate is to this very day. And it's always nice to regale them with the story. You know what I mean?
Right,
I love bringing it back up and watching people's faces. They're like, what? Sean Atwood? No way.
Well, when we did research on it, we, much to our chagrin, we found a DaddyGate channel, which is a video gamer. He's got, 1,500 subs?
Yep.
So anyone claiming that they own the rights to DaddyGate is full of it. Let's just get it out there. No one owns it. A video gamer that has been on for a long time, before all this stuff even popped, already had that name. So
yeah, he has the name, but he's not using it in the same way that we are. His channel's it's a different name, isn't it? It's DaddyGate Gaming or something like that. So respect to DaddyGate Gaming. I feel sorry for him because he's now associated with Sean Atwood's perverted ways, as Darren G put it so eloquently.
Right. Well, and then that's what we had the podcast too. Just to distinguish from the gamer, and hopefully people will be able to distinguish from the two. Even though we do plan on maybe adding some gaming material onto this channel as well.
Yeah, and then we'll call ourselves DaddyGate Gaming.
Yeah, man. No, there's so much.
Or not DaddyGate Gaming. That would do.
Something like that. Circumvent. Yeah. We'll find the loopholes to it. Yeah. No, man, I'm super excited for this. I mean, this is a collab, and the funny thing is, many people were asking for this way before we even brought it up.
Yep.
They were asking for it. So.
They were. It was the audience that asked for it. I personally was against the idea of collabing, not with you specifically, but just with other channels, because I thought, God, if it's collabing, then. I know this is going to sound lame, but making videos is a kind of a creative. It's like a creative thing, So it's I need that free creativity, and if I'm collabing, it just takes away that, or that's what I felt anyway. Yeah. But a podcast, there's no better way than to just get together with somebody you enjoy chatting to, and then hopefully the audience like it. It's going to be we're going to have to try and these are going to be pre-recorded as far as I'm aware. But the audience is such an important part of the show as well. We want audience feedback as well, I'm
just kidding.
I'm so used to it now, man.
You didn't even flinch that time.
I'm just whatever.
Nah, man, I think people are gonna enjoy it
every time. Honestly, it just would not. I just thought, yes, of course we are. We definitely are.
Well, wasn't it after the aftermath video? Apparently, I didn't shut off my stream, and then. You had to shut down a couple of streams for me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You went live again, and I think I could hear you making dinner or something.
Dude, well, you know what's funny? Real quick before we leave, I was getting messages like, "Why did you delete that video?" I'm like, "Do you really want to hear me eating dinner with my family?"
Oh, that one, my
yes,
God.
And people were saying it was Sean and Cali. People were saying it was Sean and Cali in the background, and that's why I deleted the video. Dude. Just silly stuff, man. But it was literally me eating dinner with my family,
I was like, wait a second, this isn't supposed to be up. I was like, dude, I went and deleted your fucking stream there. Sorry, mate.
No, but I got accused, dude. A few people were like, makes me wonder because I heard Sean and Cali in the background, and then you deleted the video. It's making me wonder now.
Right, I've got the perfect GIF to put up on the screen there, man. The one with all the calculations going in front of the guy's eyes.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about. Oh man, no, I wanted to touch base on that. I wanted to tie that in somehow or some way.
Oh man, there's heaps of stuff we need to talk about, man. We never even covered how Sean Atwood is going to be on True Geordie soon. Very disappointing on the side of True Geordie. I believe even specifically when you think about there was a confession almost to underage girlfriends on True Geordie with Sean Atwood, and then I think we'll touch on this next time, of course.
I just got an email from Billy Moore.
Nice
about the whole interesting stuff going on in the I'll just say this. Interesting stuff going on in the podcast world.
Interesting.
Shout out to Billy Moore. Thanks for that email,
yes,
my man.
Billy Moore. Cheers, man. Your sound. Oh, I liked his the podcast with Jeff as well. So you should check it out. He did a podcast with the guy yesterday, Jeff. Now, Jeff also sort of hit on the fact that Sean Atwood is toxic waste at the moment, you know? I mean, poor Jeff, he did a podcast with Sean Atwood and he was excitedly promoting it on his social media, and all he got was people calling him a pedo. You know, all these comments saying pedo lover, or nonce lover, you know. And it's just like, Sean Atwood is toxic waste, you know. It really is. Like, it's the anyway. So you know
Good,
that,
man.
and
we'll do another one. Maybe.
yeah, man.
We
for
want
sure we'll do
to.
episode 2 soon.
Yeah, maybe we could do like an hour every week, because people were asking how frequent are we going to do this. We don't know. We're still going by ear. We're going as
We'll
we
do
go.
it as often as we can. We do enjoy doing it, so there's a high chance it might be weekly, but we can't guarantee it just because of the nature of life. You can't guarantee something, but I think it's possible. We could
An
quite
hour.
possibly
We can
do it,
definitely squeeze in an
yeah.
hour, man. It goes so quick, and we cover a lot. Like right now, we're just over an hour, and it just breezed through. So I mean, just something like that along those lines, and I think that could work out. But yeah, definitely subscribe if you haven't. Please smash that motherfucking subscribe button, goddammit, and stay tuned. Much thanks to all those who have already pre-subscribed. I said that once, I said that twice. This is the third time I'm saying it on this episode. I truly mean it. That means a lot. You guys are the hardcore of the hardcore.
It really does. You know, thank you so much to the people that are listening, and we're looking forward to your feedback as well. I think we should maybe put the email address down below as well, so people can get in touch. If they've got any feedback and stuff like that, we can put an email down. We've not got any Twitter or anything like that yet set up, because we're a shambles, but we'll try and do something like that as well.
Right.
And then obviously people can contact myself on Twitter, which is at Chancer Media on Twitter. So you can DM me, you can publicly message me and things like that. I'm terrible at getting back to people, but I do actually get back to people, so give it a go. And then we could maybe put an email address down. It's always really good to hear feedback from people. I've had loads of feedback from people prior to this coming through, and it's massively appreciated.
For sure. Yeah, we'll put links to both of our channels. Also we do have a large Facebook group going on almost 100 members now, where we just we have a little fun, get to know other members in the community. So we'll have all that stuff. Make sure you subscribe and leave any suggestions. You can email us or just leave them in the comments. We do check the comments.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely keep an eye out. So thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode number 1 of the DaddyGate podcast. And hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah,
we'll
nice.
Look forward to hearing from y'all.
Beautiful. Cheers, folks.
Peace.